Alright, so we chose wheels and tires for the next upgrade. I just think that this is a great next upgrade to do after wheel spacers, because if you're already doing stuff down low and working with the wheels, you might as well continue working with the wheels, and it's going to make the truck look great and force us to do other upgrades, because these are some 60 millimeter Endura tires. I really like the way these ones look, and I've heard a lot of people say things about these Endura tires, like their rubber sucks and their compounds are bad, but I really like Endura tires. I have quite a few of them, and I just like the way they look. Like I said, these are 60 millimeters. I like the tread pattern. I usually don't run the foams that come with tires. I usually choose different foams, or I run no foams. I always try no foams first, but my builds usually get heavy and the softness of the tires are a little too much without foam, and they'll start to crush, so I'll need to get a foam for them. But we're going to do these trail wheels with the Endura tires. I love these 4-piece wheels by Trail. Let me get one out. They're amazing quality, the way they look. I love how they come with different offsets that you can put in. So you can, this is just the normal offset in there, a negative offset, and then you can change it out with this one and get a positive offset on there, which I like a lot. But these rims, they look really, really good. Like I said, I love the Trail wheels, just Trail parts in general. They're really good with their quality. All right, let's get these wheels and tires mounted on there and see how they look. All right, here we are. We kind of got everything laid out for this. Got our rims laid out, got the bigger offset laid out, the screws over here. I'm not going to put them in each individual one, that takes too much time, but they're right there, easy to get. They're not going to roll anywhere. I love using my iFixit kit. I think it's awesome. I'm not sponsored or anything. It's just, I just think this is one of the best kits for just any kind of little thing you need to work on. Comes with a bunch of different bits and everything. They're really cool. I use it for everything, every day. It gets used a lot, but that's what I use to work on these little SCX24s and all my RCs, really, besides some of the special tools that come with them specifically. But yeah, let's get into putting these wheels and tires on and see if we want to put these big positive offset spacers on these wheels, because I generally wouldn't go super wide right away unless you're going to plan on upgrading your servo, because once you go really wide, you get a lot of scrub radius, and once you start adding a little bit of weight, the servo starts to not like to steer or do anything when you're actually crawling it on obstacles. So since we already have the servo and we're doing all the upgrade, we're probably just gonna make this thing as wide as possible, because that's what we're trying to do with the wide axles anyways. So let's get these wheels on here and see what it looks like and how it runs. But these are some 60 millimeter Endura tires. I really like the way they look. I really like Endura tires. They're nice. Nice quality, nice look. I like the rubber on them. And foams that come with them, not so much. They need to be a little bit softer. I usually change foams out from other tires that I've bought, or I take the foams out completely and run them, but sometimes they get too heavy. Like on this Bronco, I run these are some 56 millimeter tires, and there's no foams in these. I've just beadlocked the air in there. No foams at all. They're pretty awesome. I love these tires too. They're also by Endura. They are super sweet. But yeah, let's get these tires on these rims and get them on the Gladiator. This is just a comparison on how much those wheel weight and spacers and just these rims with the offset widen the track of this thing. quite impressive for just about $60 an upgrade so far with the wheel weight, spacers, and the wheels and tires. But I do say that these trail rims work real good with these Endura tires, man. And they look even better on the Gladiator already. Get these other two tires on and do some course runs. Woo-woo. And here we have the Gladiator with its second upgrade. The trail wheels and Endura 60mm tires. Getting pretty wide, deep dished them out. I think it looks real good. What do you guys think? Alright, here we are with run 3 with the SCX24 Gladiator. I put the trail rims and tires on there, and I decided to put the bigger offset on there and flip the rims around to give them that deep dish offset. So we're wide boying out real quick. Might lose some gains, but with all the other upgrades that we're doing with it, I think it's going to benefit it in the end. So here we go, run 3 with the wheels and tires added to it. Definitely has a lot more articulation just because lengthening the wheelbase. I think we're going to have to show you our special surprise for what we have in store to really test the skills of this thing faster, because these little desktop crawler courses really ain't cutting it. There we go. I got Thor over here rolling around in the background. Alright, let's get these next upgrades on here. And I think I already opened them, but I think we're going to go with the trail high clearance links next. We'll do another test run and see what this little bad boy of a RC crawler can do. Alright, here we go. It's time for the third upgrade for the SCX24 Gladiator. Well, kind of the fourth upgrade because we did wheels and tires one package, but I think wheels and tires are a package deal. But what should we do for the next upgrade on this beast? I'm thinking that we should go with the high clearance links first, and then after that we'll do the test runs on the obstacles, and then I think we're gonna do the longer shocks from Endura. These are the 51mm, I do believe. Give us a lot more articulation on this thing. I think just after we do this upgrade and this upgrade, we're gonna see a big difference in what this thing can do. And I think that's when we're gonna bust out the surprise I was talking about in the previous video on how the Gladiator is just gonna start beasting these little mini desktop crawler course setups. So we got something in store to really test the skills of what this thing is going to do after it's upgraded. Getting some real decent flex with just these wheels and tires and the weights and the offset we're getting. About to put these high clearance links on and then see how it runs after that. Alright, here we are. We got the high clearance links in, and man, they look good. And like I said, Trail, their quality control and stuff, and their products are so nice. They're one of the only people who make it so their labels are actually faced correctly on their parts. And the two links that replace the Y link, they're actually bent on the ends like they're supposed to be. Notice a lot of other companies, they're straight and you have to bend them if you really want to get the articulation from them that you want. But let's get these wheels and tires back on here and do a test run with these high clearance links. I think we're going to see some big differences here and some really big differences after we put the shocks on after this. So let's get her on these desktop crawler obstacles and see how she does. Alright, here we are. We got the wheels and tires back on. The undercarriage of this SCX24 Gladiator is looking awesome. Let's get her on these obstacles and see what she does. Ah, man, it looks so good. Woo! Look at those links under there matching everything. God, those look good. Woo! Let's get her on the obstacles and see what she can do. All right, we got these high clearance links on the gladiator. Now we're gonna do run 4 on the desktop crawler obstacles. Ooh. Yeah, it goes up over that without rubbing a bunch now. Oh yeah, look at that. It's going so clean and smooth over everything now. Getting a lot more clearance. I'm really digging it. Let's get this guy turned around. .20 turn. I don't have a big setup area for crawling on this yet, but I'm sure we'll get there. Oh, see, this is, I think, is where we're gonna need the shocks. Get a little different ride height. Oh, doesn't like going this way on it. It's getting hung up on that skid plate on that rock. Well, we'll call that good enough here. Let's get let's get these shocks on here and really see what these high clearance links can do, because we really don't got a bunch of articulation and the ride height's gonna change. And once we put these shocks on here and start putting all these other upgrades on here, this thing's really gonna have a different performance. Alright, here we are. We're getting the shocks put on the Gladiator, and I just wanted to show you the difference between the stock shocks and the upgraded shocks. So I suggest if you do this upgrade to longer shocks that you don't mount them in the same stock position, because then you're just going to get super high drive and high drive. Let me go there. Dyslexia to the max. You'll get a really high ride height and high center of gravity, and you'll just roll over and flip all the time. So we're actually going to take this front, or the top part of the shock, and we're going to mount it backwards more on the frame and see where we like the ride height and the articulation that it gives us to really figure out where we want to mount our shocks. Alright, I'm going to go and do that now, and we'll show you what we decided in the end. Alright, here we are. We got the shocks on, and you can see how I didn't mount them to the stock mounting points. I just kind of moved them backwards and forwards on the frame. Gives it a nice look. I also don't run springs on the front ever. I take the springs off. I'll probably eventually take them off the back too, but changes the ride height in the front a little bit. I'm probably gonna adjust a little bit more. I might show you a little trick that I do to get different mounting points on the frame without having to drill holes or anything using stock parts, but it's a little secret of mine, just to get the ride height more even on the front and the back. But right now, without doing that, this is kind of how she sits. And now I was only flexing like to here before. Now it'll go all the way to here. Flexing nasty. So overall, when you do the high clearance links and the shocks, you get a lot of performance out of these little SCX24s. I think this Gladiator build is turning out awesome, and I can't wait to get all the parts on here. But I just wanted to show you guys each one going on and each step and what it does. And we still got a pile of parts over here to go on this thing. So stay with me and see the progression of the SCX24 Gladiator. And coming up right after this is going to be the test run on the desktop crawler obstacles. So just a heads up, I knew it was going to come to this. When you're putting these really long shocks on, you're gonna have a problem with your car lifting up real high, and your drive shaft will disconnect and you'll lose your front wheel drive. You want to avoid that. If you do the 48mm shocks, it's usually short enough, but you'll still get good performance and flex out of it with the 48mm shocks and not having to do all these other things that I'm going to show you with this that you have to do to be able to run the shocks without your drive line coming disconnected, or you're getting a lot of lift when you're going up stuff, and you'll see in a second it's just going to tip backwards and the drive line's going to come out. But with just a couple little modifications, we're going to fix that and just have a lot of performance. And it's kind of like what I've done with a lot of my other vehicles, and here's a good one to show you because it has a lot of flex. We just got a rubber band in here and it keeps it from flexing back too far, and I put a little bit longer drive shaft in there. And that's something, if you want the really long shocks, that you're gonna have to do is order another drive shaft. But I got a bunch of them because we have so many RC cars around here, and parts and stuff, that we have extras laying around, so I won't have to order one. I'll just have one to put on there right away. But let's sit here and we'll do a run on the course, and you're gonna see how it's gonna epically fail here after the first obstacle. But here we go. Here's run 5 with the SCX24 Gladiator. We got the shocks on here now. Watch how this back end articulates. Oh, look at that drop. Look at that. Flexing, no tire lift, just steady on there. Didn't get prepped for this. Now this is where you're gonna see it fail. See how it's starting to lift real high. Wheel just lost front wheel drive, and it just wants to tip backwards on us. See how he's lifting up. No front wheel drive now. Just lifts, but we're gonna show you how to see that drive shaft in there flipping around. Well, we're going to show you how to fix that with some simple modifications. So, a little rubber band. But we'll get to do that, and then we'll do another run and show you how well the fix is. And it's really easy to do it. Just wrap it around where the Y-link was, and then somewhere up around the frame. And it'll stop this from happening, and you'll get a lot of performance out of it. We'll show you in a second. Then we'll pick out the next upgrade that we're going to put on the Gladiator. And after that next upgrade, I think we're going to start taking it and showing you the surprise that we made to really test out these SCX24s and their performance capabilities. Alright, so what I did before, you probably seen how there was space in the drive shaft, like how there is right there. You can see the post going into the shaft. Can't see it now. I took a longer one and then cut it down. You can see my cut's not that even, but I cut it down to where when it was all the way down, upside down like this, when the shocks are all the way compressed, that's not rubbing right there, that there's some gap. And when you do that, now it can drop all the way down and not come out and not slip out, so you won't have that slippage, but you're still going to get that lift now without putting that limiter strap on, and it'll flip backwards when you're going up something too steep. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the servo and the new steering linkage, because they came together in a package on there. And when I do that, I'm gonna put the rubber band on for the limiter strap and show you how much of a difference that it makes. Alright, so before we put this limiter strap on, we're just going to go ahead and do the next upgrade. And I'm going to do the servo. Once you start doing a lot of upgrades and putting a lot of weight on these, that stock servo is just not going to do it when you're really trying to turn on courses and stuff. So we're going to go ahead and put this servo on there, and it got its new steering links in there. it's a really big upgrade that you really should do is upgrade the servo. Doesn't need to be done right away like a lot of people said, but if you're gonna do a lot of upgrades and you know you're gonna put everything all metal on here, just upgrade your steering servo. It'll save you a headache later on when you realize that the stock servo just can't handle all that weight. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and put the steering servo and new steering linkage on here and show you what we do with this rubber band for a limiter strap. Alright, here we go. We got that Emax servo upgrade in there with the upgraded steering links and the limiter straps. You can see I have the rubber band wrapped up in and around there, and then wrapped up under the links behind the servo mounts. And then I also did the same thing back here behind those links, and then wrapped up and twisted around the old shock mounts. It makes it so you don't get that high lift and stuff from the body when you're at angles, but it doesn't take away from any of the articulation that you gained from the long shocks and high clearance links. So that's kind of what I do to fix those issues once you want to go for really long shocks. And now this thing is a crawling master, and I think that the desktop crawler course isn't gonna be much of a challenge anymore. So we're gonna do one last crawl on it with these upgrades just to show you. But then we have something out here. Just a little sneak peek that's gonna blow your mind.